All right, how are we doing today? So I hear it's the open source stage. Gonna write some pull requests. No, we're just running light, no backpacks today. No, this is fine.
All right, everyone. We have no moderator or anything, so we're going to shoot the shit up here and talk about self-hosting, sovereignty, encryption, open source. We'll see where it goes. So I was going to kick it off. The title of this is Self-Hosting the Cloud is Just Someone Else's Computer. Very popular and common phrase that gets thrown around in the Bitcoin ecosystem a lot. I think it's fairly self-explanatory, but perhaps it is not so clear to everyone that pretty much every time you use a laptop, cell phone, tablet, desktop, or other client device, there is a server somewhere that is processing and storing the information produced on the client device.
So it's not an actual cloud, is what you're trying to tell me?
Not yet, no. We haven't deployed the cloud servers yet in the clouds. Well, maybe Elon Musk is doing something like that.
Is he here today, that guy?
So anyway, it's a server somewhere, and if it's not yours, it's somebody else's. There's no doing away with servers, at least not any good ideas that have come through the computing world yet. So if you're using somebody else's server, you are subjecting yourself to them in one way or another. You're exposing your privacy, you're subjecting yourself to censorship, you are paying them a fee either with your wallet or with your data, and you are shoving all your data on a server with everyone else's, which makes it an attack surface, a target for hackers all the way from individuals to nation states. And so we're here to talk about why that's a bad idea and certain ways that you can not do it. And we all take slightly different approaches to solving that problem. So I'll hand it over to Evan here and let him explain what he does.
Hey everyone, my name is Evan Kaloudis. I'm a founder of a Lightning wallet called Zeus, and we focus mostly on self-custody. So instead of, having a node or an account run by someone else who has access to your keys, we help you get set up so that you don't have to trust anyone else to host your data, host your wallet. You could even run the entire Lightning node or the Lightning computer on your phone. So we have support for that. We also have support for remote connections to node platforms like Match Start9. You can run a little computer at home and connect to it. In fact, years past would just connect to my node on my desk at home remotely, use my Zeus app to pay around the conference, and now we've just only recently moved to just having it all in the phone. So yeah, where do we go from here?
As I can introduce myself, I'm Ben, work on Mutiny wallet, and yeah, work a competitor to Zeus, but we kind of take different trade-offs. The node is always on the phone there, but we have lots of cloud things that we have encrypted cloud storage and the mempool syncing and all that stuff happens separately, and that's where the user can self-host it if they run it on Start9, but a lot of people don't, so it's we host it for them and it makes it easier.
So what do you say the major trade-offs would be between going ahead and installing the whole Mutiny web stack on your Start9 and using that versus the web the defaults that you use?
Yeah, I mean it's mostly for rug pull risk of if we just deleted everything, now it's gonna be a lot harder to get your money out. But it is still all self-custodial. It's not extremely reliant on it. It just needs to exist. So yeah, so the trade-off is I don't want maybe Ben's gonna get drunk tonight and delete my wallet. So if you're worried about that, then you just self-host it. Now it's I can't rug you at all. It's all open source software.
So if you got drunk and deleted a user's wallet, they wouldn't be able to access it as is, but they still have full control of their funds. They could get their money back.
Yeah. It's our encrypted cloud storage is backups for basically because Mutiny is built in the browser, which the storage is not very reliant. So we have the encrypted cloud storage to make sure it's okay. And yeah, so someone could go in and delete the database, but your funds are still there. You still have your seed and your local storage. It's just, we do the encrypted cloud storage to make sure it's safe.
Okay.
So in any computing activity, using Bitcoin and Lightning included, there is a spectrum of full independent sovereignty where you and you alone are, in total control of your funds, receiving, sending, storing, all the way to you have absolutely no control. This is, buying the ETF. The only control you have would be legal recourse through the traditional, justice system or something, which is not going to work out very well for you.
Bitcoin bank account. You just get shut down.
Where you, it's mimics the prior fiat monetary system and financial system. And everywhere along the spectrum is just full of trade-offs, right? The further on the spectrum you go towards total independence and sovereignty, control over your own destiny, the more responsibility it requires of you. And traditionally, the more effort it requires of you as well. Now, thanks to what we're doing and some of the efforts that they're doing and others in the world, that barrier to entry and learning curve is getting lower. It is not as difficult as it used to be to have total sovereign control over your Bitcoin, whether it's on-chain or on the Lightning Network or any other layer 2. But it is still somewhat harder. And then on the other side, it's maximally easy. You have to go through KYC, and that's about the extent of the effort required on your part. And then it all just works forever, but you have absolutely no control. And so I would say that Start 9 and Start OS, which enables you to run your own Lightning node on your own server and then connect to it from something like Zeus Wallet. On Android or iOS, you can connect directly to your own node on your own server over the Tor network, fully encrypted, would be the extreme end of what is possible with Bitcoin and Lightning in terms of sovereignty. But it requires a little bit more effort. And then as you go down, there's Mutiny and Zeus not using the own node, using light nodes that are running on the phone, but they are still very far on the spectrum of you have control, you have sovereignty, but they're more convenient, right? Like using Mutiny is a matter of download, open, send and receive sats on the Lightning Network, and that's awesome. And you're giving up a little, and I'd actually like to understand what the trade-off is there. Like, what am I giving up if I'm not using my own Lightning node in my my full Lightning node at home?
Yeah, I mean, like the trade-off is like basically like Mutiny is a website, so like say like it's hosted on Cloudflare. Like if Cloudflare just banned our account, now you don't have access to your wallet, and you need to now you need to go through the steps to self-host it to get your money back, or as well like we could push a malicious update and funds could be stolen there. So.
But that's mitigated if you self-host the web app.
If you're self-hosting, you choose when to update. You can audit it before the update goes out, all that kind of stuff. So that's like the main benefit for self-hosting Mutiny is just like, you're basically just like only trusting us now in development, not on any of the actual stuff that like we're deploying. And as well, it's probably better for privacy. Like we could see IP addresses and stuff. So if you don't want to leak that, that would help as well.
And Zeus is about its own optionality, right? Like you've taken let's give the user the option choice with your wallet.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, people have said we are a Swiss Army knife of Lightning Wallet. So you can go and be that beginner user, and your friend can onboard you, and you can sort of do that Uncle Jim model where like you have a friend host you and sort of give you these credentials to the Win account. From there, you could upgrade, spin up your own wallet on the phone, or go remote. Like, there's all sorts of different variations, and people are using the software in a plethora of ways. And, I think something like a Start 9 especially allows you to use, like, Zeus, like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 different ways, depending on how you want your software configured. Do you want an LND node? Do you want a Core Lightning? Do you want to have a hosted Uncle Jim thing with, like, an LN Bits sort of setup?
Can I switch between them? So if I were to start out on Zeus using the LSP just-in-time channel creation, and then I wanted to move to using my own, to connecting to my own full node at home, can I migrate easily?
Yeah, so that's the best part about Zeus is that you can maintain these multiple wallets at the same time. So, some people, they come up to me and say, oh, hey, I love Zeus. And I know they're the most hardcore ones. They come up to me and they're like, oh, yeah, look at all my connections. I got 6 nodes set up. One's a node on the phone. I got 2 custody accounts. I'm like, what is going on over here? But we give you that optionality, and you could just switch between them like in seconds. So it's really cool. But, something like Mutiny sort of blends the layers a little bit more seamlessly, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we do get requests lots of times for multi-wallet support, but we haven't done that yet. But yeah, like we have on-chain, Lightning, and Fediment, so there's like kind of like, you can't have multiple wallets. We have like 3 different balances and all different trade-offs. So yeah, we try to like help the user there. Of like, Fediment's easier, so we try to get users into that initially. But once you go to self-custody, then you have like way more sovereignty and stuff like that. So it's all about guiding the user to what they want and making sure that they get the outcome they want and stuff.
I'm genuinely curious about industry trends here. So I have my perspective at Start9. We see how many people are buying servers from us. We have some insight into how many people are DIYing servers with StartOS. We don't have exact numbers because we can't. But I don't have a broader perspective of, as the Lightning Network garners adoption, where are they entering here? I mean, is it full custodial? Is it through Zeus and Mutiny? Is it through full nodes? I guess we could do like network node counts and then just add up how many people we think are using our products. And
yeah, I mean, but if we're looking at the metrics of the Lightning Network, like the nodes listed or stuff that has a public IP address and has channels it's announcing. And, anyone that onboards on the Zeus or Mutiny, like, that doesn't go towards the count. Like, the channels are typically all private, unannounced. The node is only open when you open your phone up, right? So it doesn't go towards that count. So a lot of people are, like, seeing these metrics on the Lightning Network in terms of node count and channel capacity, and I'm like, well, guys, I'm running this huge LSP, and we're opening up thousands, tens of thousands of channels, right? And none of them get announced towards that total count, the total capacity. So it's sort of funny and a bit frustrating sometimes when people say, oh, Lightning is trending down. It's like, well, people are mostly going towards these LSP setups, and they don't have a need to announce to the whole world that they have money in these payment channels.
Well, maybe this is a very biased sample set, but if the audience will indulge me for a minute here, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't feel like, letting those around you know this part of your life. Who's running an LND or CLN node on their own server that's up 24/7, 365 at home?
All right. That's not too bad.
How about using a Lightning wallet that is a LSP-style wallet, such as Breeze, Phoenix, Zeus, Mutiny? Wow, that's not that much more. Maybe a little more. Who's not using Lightning at all? You do not have a Lightning wallet. You do not conduct Lightning transactions. Okay.
All right. Talk to us afterwards. We'll get you set up.
It's really not that hard. Not with their tech. If you want to do it our way, it's a little bit more of an investment, but less than you think.
We have internal metrics on like what if a user's using Fediment or Lightning, and it's pretty interesting. Like, Mutiny existed as Lightning only for like its first year, and the month after we added Fediment, we had like double the amount of people in a Fediment that were using self-custodial Lightning. So that was pretty interesting to us. Of just like, people just want to send around small payments, and so they don't want to go through all the hassle of managing channels and stuff. But it's different use cases. But yeah.
Can one of you? I'll pose it to Evan first, but if you want to hand it off, feel free. Give me the maybe not the 2-year-old explanation, but maybe the 4-year-old explanation, TLDR, of what an LSP is and how it works. Like, if I'm not using my own full node to get inbound liquidity and receive payments, how does it work? How are you accomplishing that?
So Lightning Service Provider can mean a lot of different things, but typically we refer to it as a liquidity provider on the network. So with Lightning, you set up these payment channels where you put up Bitcoin in advance, and it's sort of like, I don't know, like an abacus where there's a balance on your side of the channel and there's a balance on the counterparty's side.
And you created the channel? So if somebody downloads Mutiny or Zeus and they fire it up and they click Create Wallet, like what just happened?
So the first channel you get, right, it's connected to the Lightning Service Provider, which is typically a really big hub on the network. It's well connected. It can route payments.
Are you one of those hubs?
Yeah, so Olympus, our LSP, is a really big hub, and we're connected to basically all the other hot points in the network. So a new user coming on to Mutiny or Zeus, they only need to have like one channel open with their LSP, and they can rest assured that they're going to be able to send or receive payments from basically anyone on the network. So the alternative, if you were to do like a Start9 hosted thing, you would manually open up channels with your own on-chain fund, find the partners or places you shop at, and open up channels to them. Whereas with the LSP, you could be a little more just hands-off and just trust, okay, I have a top-shelf connection, and I know this is going to suit all my needs that I need for sending and receiving payments. Is there anything you'd add to that, Ben?
No, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, like, the Zeus LSP and the Vultures LSP that we use have this nice model where you create you don't have a channel, but you can still create a Lightning invoice, and then once that invoice is paid, it'll, like, open the channel and then complete the payment for the Lightning channel. So, like, you don't need to, like, worry about channels initially. Like, your first payment will just set up a channel for you. So that's a really nice win there, but...
Yeah, the just-in-time channel, basically, you don't need any channels in advance, but you can instantly accept a Lightning payment. And there's a little trust while your channel is confirming on-chain. Like, the LSP can, rug you within the period, like that 10 minutes. But once that's done, the funds are yours definitively, and there's no room for shenanigans.
Okay, and so by during that 10-minute period, they in theory would be able to rug you for just the amount of money that was coming in from that first payment?
Just the amount that's on your side of the channel. So, yeah, basically what you were receiving.
Yeah, that first receipt.
Exactly.
And then after that, well, if someone wants to send you
then you have
more,
the keys. You have the keys. You could close out, and you could settle on chain.
Okay, and I can open
if someone wants to send you more, they can. Before or after that.
Sure, and I can open more channels, too. I'm not just bound to my LSP.
Of course. So with Zeus and with Mutiny, you have the ability to say, hey, I am connecting to the LSP to make sure I could get my general payments done, but, hey, I go to, PubKey, this bar, and I'm there every weekend. Let me open up a payment channel to them so my payment fees are even lower than they typically are. So you can do like a hybrid sort of thing and have the peace of mind of knowing you have like a top shelf connection to an LSP, but then also these smaller channels to places you frequent. And that's what we see a lot of people doing too.
Is there a way for somebody to do what you're doing? Like, not obviously the answer is yes. I mean, like, reasonably for a pleb to do. Like, so we saw, like with PlebNet, a lot of people tried to spin up power Lightning routing nodes in order to collect fees and earn money. Is it feasible for somebody to spin up an LSP?
Well, right now it's quite difficult. You got to ship an API. People can hit. Really, I think the main problem was like, to start with, is people aren't speaking all the same language. Like, the Mutiny guys with Voltage created a nice protocol for the just-in-time channels, and we went and used that same design for Olympus. But beyond that, there wasn't really any fixed API format. So now there's the LSP spec group, and those implementations are rolling out. So now with Zeus 0.9, which is in beta right now, we now have this new protocol that, different wallets can basically use different LSPs and vice versa. So the plan is to have open source implementations of these specs and let plebs just run it on their Start9s or other places. So hopefully in the next year, we could have one-click installs off these app stores, the Umbral, the Start9s, right? And you can just go off to the races and start selling your own liquidity if you're like a...
Yeah, that's where I was kind of going with
router.
it. You know, we saw with the Samurai incident, and then later, you know, with Wasabi voluntarily kind of shutting down their centralized mixer, that central service providers, you know, like I worry about you a little bit. Not you know, you're not.
I was worried about me for a little bit.
Like you know.
But things with us, they really turned around. Really, well, I mean, we're not out of the woods, right? But the 2 weeks that followed Phoenix going out of the market and us taking our stand, like the political climate changed pretty drastically in the other direction. And hell, we have Donald Trump speaking in like just a little bit, so that's a little bit of a white pill in some ways.
Right. So yeah, I mean, but what we saw there, you know, and I took a keen interest in this, not just for the same reason everybody else did, but because our philosophy is that, you know, not only is the cloud somebody else's computer, but, you know, central trusted third parties are security holes. And while you might not be so trusted, and probably not a security hole, it is a censorship resistance concern. So, like, if for whatever reason, I don't think this is going to happen, but there came an attack against the LSPs, and it's like, oh, you are financial service providers, and you're unregistered, and goodbye. Like, what happens to the Lightning Network, you know? Like, how disruptive could that be? And so I ask because the solution to the mixing providers going down is for everyone to be a mixing provider, to self-host their own coordinators over Tor anonymously, so that authorities might think twice before they whack one mole on the head if they know 500 anonymous ones are about to pop up instead. So I'm not necessarily saying that everyone should be an LSP. What I'm saying is that if it is easy for everyone to be an LSP, maybe you won't get attacked in the first place. It'll act as a deterrent. Right, so open sourcing the LSP code and server software so that it can be self-hosted is actually a measure of self-protection, I think.
It's a hard balance of, like, you know, do you open source it and then you lose kind of some of your moat, but as well you get the...
VCs love moat. So the second you stop supporting them, they're like, oh, shit, what are you doing?
But, yeah, I mean, we don't run the LSP, so we don't have to worry about that, but... yeah, there's like, I think there's a few open source implementations, though, of like LSPS1, and then...
there's one in Balance of Satoshis, which you could easily plug into an LND node. It's half decent.
Yeah, and then I think there's an LDK node one for LSPS2 that's like just for beta testing right now, but I think they want to eventually make it like an open source real LSP, so there should be like more coming down the line that'll help a lot.
Just keep me in the loop. I can't keep up with this stuff. I'm serious.
I barely can.
There's a lot going on.
Let me know, and we'll help. We'll help get it packaged up.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, you know? Like, God forbid we fall off the face of the planet. We want people to still be able to interface with their Zeus wallets and just either just go to open your channels manually like they do with stuff like PlebNet and NodeStritch, or we want just people to easily be able to sell channels with these unified protocols, and user just pop in the new host and be like, hey, now Ben's going to sell me channels from his node. Yeah. And, you know, like you said, the more of those that they're available, the more heads off the Hydra that they have to chop off, and the more decentralized, you know, the service provider marketplace is on Lightning. And I think ultimately, you know, it's nice that we're going to have these clients just built in, you know, do a one-click install, but you know, maybe this stuff should really just happen on the Lightning protocol level where everyone's node just by default, their default server, their node can just sell these channels with just a few configuration changes, you know? So
yeah, for sure. Doesn't Lightning Pool enable you to participate in that way? Or am I...
so Lightning Labs Pool, they have a product where they sell these channels blinded. So
I can't.
You need to get your node up to this threshold. They have like a scoring system, so they're like, okay, we're going to score Matt's node by how many channels he has, who are they open to, how long his uptime has been, and if you break a certain threshold, then you get listed on it. The end user just says, hey, they're buying a channel through the marketplace. You don't know who you're getting the channel from. All you know is that it's met this threshold. It's been vetted by them. So it's definitely a different approach. But you see that. You see different marketplaces like the Amboss guys have, where you can actually go and see each stat on the node. So that's like the variant of that.
There's also like the Lightning native way, like Lisa's proposal. It's like, no, not offers. Channel ads or something, and you can like just say like, hey, I'm selling channels for this price, and people can buy it from you. I think it's in CLN, but and I think the Phoenix guys are working on that as well, but coming soon.
Yeah, it's just gossips on the same Lightning network protocol messaging.
We have about 1 minute left. I did want to add on to something I had said a minute ago regarding the Samurai team and the Wasabi decommissioning and mixing in general, which is that as a result of this crackdown, we are seeing the decentralization and proliferation of mixing technologies, primarily in the form of join market, which has been around for a very long time, but is, majorly underused because Samurai and Wasabi had made it so simple, and join market took a little bit more effort. But also, in the aftermath of all that, the Wasabi team, being the awesome people that they are, really made sure that it became possible now for anyone to run a Wasabi coordinator of your own, and you can do that using BTC Pay Server, which is also available on StartOS. So this is not a recommendation because it could put you on a very bad list, but if you are interested in running a Wasabi coordinator to help everyone around the world conduct coin joins, you can do so using BTC Pay Server, which is a wonderful piece of open source software, and you can install it on StartOS and do it over Tor, and don't tell anyone about it. Okay.
You're here.
Anyway.
All right. Any closing notes? That's it?
I don't know, I guess.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Run your own computer. Don't trust the cloud. Hold your own keys. Thank you.